ceremonies and the opening coin toss. Again, a big match in terms of the importance in League B Group A standings. Both of these squads coming into tonight's match, records of 2 wins, no losses, no draws, 6 points each. St. Lucia with 7 goals for, just 1 conceded. Guadeloupe 6 goals for, 1 conceded. So right now St. Lucia sitting atop the group by that 1 goal differential, as first gets set to take on second here, as you're tuned in to the 2023-24 Concacaf Nations League.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Guadeloupe. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of St. Lucia.
It's St. Lucia, it's Guadeloupe, and it's Concacaf Nations League, League B Group A action, opening kickoff coming up next, as you're tuned in on the Spock Network, and of course across Concacaf Go and various other broadcast platforms. Welcome in, as we're just moments away from opening kickoff. Let's get a look at the starting 11 for St. Lucia, and they're led by their keeper, Vino Barclay. He'll be certainly a big key for them if they want to stay atop the group and keep undefeated. They're coming out with a formation of 5-3-2, so a little more defensive. Both squads actually playing a 5-3-2. And as we mentioned, keep an eye on Kurt Frederick, their right back, who's their leading goal scorer. As here we get a look at the match officials for tonight's match. The all-Jamaican squad, the all-Jamaican crew led by main referee O'Shane Nation, the big man in the middle, and his assistants, Stephanie Dale, Yi Sing, Ricardo McKenzie, and your fourth official, Okido Nicholson.
Jerome Roussillon. Number 8, Aj Plumet. Number
We
9,
get the opening coin toss between the two captains. That's Mikhail Alphonse for Guadeloupe
Arenate.
and Terrell Thomas for St. Lucia.
Number 13, Cedric Avinel. Number 17, Jordan LeBoyne. And number 19, Mehdi Lina.
All handshakes all around, and nice show of sportsmanship and respect towards the match officials from both captains. But this will be the end of the niceties, because it's first taking on second. And let's get a look at the starting 11 for Guadeloupe, who come in second in the group, as they'll go with their keeper Davy Royard to start tonight's match. As we mentioned, Mikhail Alphonse, the captain. Look for the duo up front for them, as they'll counter with a 5-3-2 formation as well, with Arenate and Coco up front. So the duo threat of 9 and 11 certainly looking to make an impact in this match for Guadeloupe, who come out with the all-red kits. St. Lucia in the blue kits, and we are just moments away from opening kickoff as you're tuned in to Concacaf Nations League action. And of course, don't forget to follow Concacaf across all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. And head over to Concacaf.com for all the latest scores, news, updates, and of course standings. As St. Lucia will defend the goal to our broadcast left. They'll be working left to right across your screen. And Guadeloupe in the all red kits with the white trim and white numbering on their backs. They'll defend the goal to your right. So they'll be working right to left across the screen. And it looks like Guadeloupe will get set to kick us off here. As the match officials get things going, and we're underway here in the opening minutes of this all-important League B Group A match as you're tuned in to Concacaf Nations League. And Guadeloupe taking the ball forward right off the bat and earning a free kick in a dangerous position on the pitch. This will be a very quality chance from a set piece in the opening minute of match play. So Guadeloupe showing some aggression right off the opening kickoff. They quickly march the ball up the pitch. And now they've earned themselves a set piece opportunity. As we get a look at the replay here. Marcus Coco, the man, fouled there. As he does well to draw the whistle against Doxley from St. Lucia. And right now 3 Guadeloupe players standing over top the ball, including the big center back Jerome Roussillon. Avenel walks away from it. Leborn, the other player on top of the ball here for Guadeloupe. So it'll either be Roussillon or Leborn to take the free kick, as referee nation ensures that the distance is respected here from the defensive wall. Opening minutes of the match, in Guadeloupe with this set piece opportunity. A chance to take an early advantage. The shot comes in and just dips over the bar as Roussillon let it fly with the left-footed effort. Nice idea there, but ultimately just lacking the accuracy to test the keeper. So Bartlett plays it out from the goal kick. And St. Lucia quickly move the ball up the pitch after those tense opening moments. Guadeloupe get it back, and they look to play it up the flank as Seneville tries to control Coco in the vicinity as well. Plumain applying the pressure, but in the end, it's controlled here by the back line for St. Lucia. As playing it over to Alexander. He looks for a long run up the field, but ultimately met by the defensive header. And now it's controlled by Roussillon. He gets it back from his teammate, quickly goes back to Avenel. Plays the long ball across midfield and a chance to run onto it for Coco, but closed down nicely by the defender in Terrell Thomas, the captain for St. Lucia, who goes back to his keeper, Bartlett. Bartlett plays it out with the right foot. Guadeloupe applying the pressure, but St. Lucia ultimately winning the aerial challenge. Now it's controlled by McFarlane. Pressure applied and a foul committed on the back of Leborn. He did well to wrestle it away from McFarlane. And Guadeloupe have a free kick. They'll play it short and start to move backwards, looking for a switch here, as it's controlled by Alphonse. The captain quickly retains possession, and he starts to move it back again. Heavy bounce through that worn area of the field in the midfield. Didn't seem to cause much problems during warm-up, but there you can see the potential havoc it could have through play as that ball bounced up high on the defender. Well done ultimately by Avenel, who once again controls here for Guadeloupe. Doesn't like what he sees in front of him, so switches to the far flank where it's touched on quickly. St. Lucia trying to get possession back, but touched forward by Arnate. He finds the man out wide, cutting in now through the brink of the penalty area, deep in the attacking third. It's pulled back by Pullmain, tries to spin off the defender, and in the end, No advantage for St. Lucia. Ploumane commits the foul. We get another look at it as Ploumane just doing a little too much and then ultimately getting too much of Stanislas. So a free kick for St. Lucia. Che Alexander, he opts to go back now. Controlled by Doxley. Donatien. As St. Lucia work it up the far flank. Controlled by Frederick, their leading scorer. Patient in their possession as Joseph plays it back. 5th minute, it's slowing a little bit after a tense opening moment where Guadeloupe earned a dangerous free kick, but ultimately nothing came of it. Now they're looking for a counterattack. There's a good long ball played ahead as Roussillon running onto it, but unable to control and beat the defender. It's out for a corner as Melvin Doxley came over to make that stop, but conceding a corner in the process. So Guadeloupe seeming to have the early momentum in the opening 5 minutes, generating a free kick from about 20 yards out, and now a corner kick as Ange Ploumane gets set to deliver the in-swinger. Crosses headed on, and that one just over the bar. Out for a goal kick. It was a quality cross delivered in by Ploumane. I believe it was Coco that elevated up for the header. Just couldn't quite get high enough up to direct it downwards. And now Bartlett will play it out from the goal kick. Strong kick by the St. Lucia keeper as they look to hold control, and they do with Alexander now on it. He chips forward, headed on, nice touch. As pressing is McFarlane, it goes back to the Guadeloupe keeper who looped it over the head of McFarlane, and now controlled by Roussillon. Avenel switches as it's controlled, and Lena looks to make an outlet pass. Quickly played back and now knocked ahead by Alphonse. Running onto it is Coco, but the defender gets there first. And now the keeper Bartlett in possession. He's pressured by Coco. Did well to evade that and gets a partial clearance, but Guadeloupe trying to hold the pressure here as it's Thomas who knocks it up for St. Lucia. Clears the half, quickly headed back in. Clattering tackles, and play continues on with St. Lucia in possession. Closed down as Joseph, holding it for St. Lucia, did well to beat off the would-be tackler, and now they look to switch on the near side. Alexander, under pressure from a couple of Guadeloupe players. He just have to hoof that one, and that's quickly headed back in, bantied around, and now controlled by Ploumane. His back pass intended for Gravelon, but that was broken up, and the ball rolls to the St. Lucia keeper, Bartlett. As in the 8th minute of play, both of these teams being patient, not trying to force, but looking to strike quickly when something opens up. Guadeloupe with the advantage in possession early, but St. Lucia trying to work through their own back line now as it goes back to the keeper. Laborne supplying the pressure from Guadeloupe. Quickly headed on. He tries to make the aerial play. Nothing doing, and Bartlett will collect for St. Lucia. As the keeper slows it down and now plays it out. Where Joseph looks to turn. Alexander, he gets closed down by Roussillon. Joseph, he has to go back. Quickly touched out by Thomas. Nice little flick on. Joseph making the run. There it's delivered out further and controlled by Stanislas. He hoofs one into the far post. Oh, what a chance. McFarlane went up for the athletic attempt. Couldn't put it on goal. Second shot gets blocked as Elva there. And it was Elva who had the first opportunity as well for St. Lucia. But in the end, some strong defensive hold by Guadeloupe, and now they look for a quick counter. Here goes Coco, playing the ball in, but coming off his line to collect is Bartlett. Is now the pace of play starting to pick up a little bit as Thomas carries forward for St. Lucia. Checking his options, lays the ball back. Lester Joseph receives the pass. Takes the space given to him, and Guadeloupe trying to wrestle it back. Nice pressure there from Arenate, and he ends up winning a free kick for Guadeloupe. Goes down in a heap, but he does well to wrestle possession back. So hopefully nothing serious there for Alexander Arenate, who here you see on the replay takes a knock in the process of trying to win possession back, and good to see him able to get up under his own power. Looks like he'll be able to shake it off and continue on. You never want to see a player have their performance cut short due to injury, and glad to see nothing serious there for Arenate. So Guadeloupe will set up for the free kick. This one from far out. Plomain keeps it short as Alphonse whips it into the penalty area. But that ball tracks out, and it'll be a throw-in for St. Lucia. As just not able to catch that one. And in the end, nothing doing for Guadeloupe from the set piece. So St. Lucia have the throw-in here with Alexander on the ball. 11th minute of action. Scoreless in this match between first in the group and second in the group. St. Lucia tops League B Group A right now, but here goes Guadeloupe playing a ball into the penalty area. Knockdown volley attempt. What a chance there for Plomain. Long shot. Oh, that one nearly dipped in. What an effort as Guadeloupe starting to pour the pressure on. The first opportunity for Plomain came from the volley. The second chance came from distance. And the keeper, Bartlett, had to be careful. Let's get another look here. As that was Mikhail Alphonse stepping into it. And oh man, Bartlett had to be very careful, as that one was so close to being something spectacular. St. Lucia under siege in the opening 10 minutes of match play. When Guadeloupe have pressured, they have pressured with real poise and real determination. They are coming strong, and they are looking to score an opening tally. But here goes St. Lucia. That long ball tracks too far away from the runner, McFarlane, and out for a Guadeloupe throw. It certainly feels like Guadeloupe are on the brink of finding something to open up the scoring in this match, but for now it remains 0-0 as here goes Guadeloupe looking to work up the flank, controlled by Laborn. Switches the ball to some open space where Medellina takes control. Alphonse playing it forward, secured by Arnate. He goes back. Alphonse doesn't like what he sees, so he lays it over to Lina. Touch into the middle, controlled by Gravilon, who quickly goes back to Lina. And now it's secured by Avenel. He's got space and time, so he takes it before dishing off to Roussillon. Quickly goes back to Avenel. Into the middle for Lina. Even though both squads starting the match with a 5-3-2 formation, you can see that it's an evolving and ever-changing 5-3-2 because Guadeloupe's starting to push the threats up the wing a little more forward. That ball on the switch, however, gets away from Roussillon, and it's out for a St. Lucia throw. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Roussillon on the pre-match roster lining up as the center back, but he's been spending the majority of his time in this match posing an attacking threat from the left flank. As nice header there by Alphonse, and in the end he draws a free kick, so does well to show the defensive aggression and earns a free kick for Guadeloupe. Tight match so far. You can tell that both teams know what's at stake here in terms of standings in the group. Don't want to make that critical error to concede first. Both teams only conceding once through 2 matches, so we'll see which of these high-powered offensive squads can strike first. Nice control here by Guadeloupe as Aranate brings it forward, lays that one out wide. Coco looks to swing the cross and check that. Headed on by Roussillon. Coco in the middle there as it's controlled by LeBourne. His shot, ultimately not one that's going to threaten the keeper Bartlett. It rolls right to him. And he makes the easy save. It was Seneville that delivered that cross in for Guadeloupe. That started the whole threatening sequence, but in the penalty area, ultimately, the shot by LeBourne controlled by the keeper. And now St. Lucia looking to work out through their back line. Bartlett laying it over to Thomas. Check that. That's Donatien. Back to Doxley. The keeper Bartlett. He's going to be charged here by Coco. Bartlett as well to evade the first challenge. Coco nearly caught him from behind. And now here goes Donatien. He takes the space in front of him. Opens up Alexander out wide. St. Lucia looking to press on the counter. Chipped forward. That ball a little heavy, but it'll be controlled by McFarlane. He whips the cross, and what a defensive play. Loose ball as they banty it around from the header. Volley attempt from distance, and saved by the keeper Rouillard, who made sure he got his body behind that, as that was a long volley attempt. I believe it was Joseph who took the shot effort, as we get a look at the replay here. And check that was Frederick, 2, not 12, who stepped up as the leading scorer for St. Lucia. Kurt Frederick generating their best chance so far with that volley attempt from distance. Had some nice power to it. You could see that Rouillard, despite making the save, it did bounce off his chest. So some good pace on that effort from distance. And St. Lucia showing signs of attacking life after having to play in their defensive side of the half for much of the opening 15 minutes of this match. St. Lucia control it here with Janoy Donatien. Controlling that back line. He plays a good ball forward, running onto it, but the flag's going to go up here as Jevic McFarlane called offside. So nice idea from St. Lucia as the home crowd starting to get a little more into this match. It was a quiet opening 15 minutes, but in the last 4 or 5 minutes, they've really started to get excited as their team looks to generate counter-attacking opportunities. Lena controls for Guadeloupe. Now they play it on the attacking side of half where it's quickly volleyed back over. Guadeloupe take possession, but a foul called, so a free kick will come for St. Lucia right around the half line. Donatien opts to leave it for his teammate in Frederick. Quickly touched out wide now for Alexander. Looked for a switch, didn't see anything he liked, so played it up the line. The flag goes up despite that effort from Gregson President, who had the athletic effort to whip it back, but in doing so from an offside possession conceded to Guadeloupe. As Davy Rouillard, the keeper for Guadeloupe, will take the kick to restart play. Avenel gives it right back to his keeper, who now switches it out wide. Alphonse looking up the pitch for an option. Takes it to the half line. Uses the close man, and under pressure, Alphonse gets it back by way of a teammate. Guadeloupe closed down, so they'll look to switch to the near side now. Bottom of your screen as they move the ball forward, but that pass off the mark. Miscommunication that time as LeBourne played that ball out for a St. Lucia throw. Alexander takes it, gets it right back. Little 1-2 as nice work there by Donatien and Alexander operating in some tight quarters, and now they open up some space. Alexander switches it over to Frederick. Looking up the pitch to deliver a long ball, sends one into the penalty area. McFarlane running onto it, but the keeper Rouillard off his line to collect that. He throws it out quickly. Guadeloupe looking for counter-attacking options as Gravillon plays that one out wide. controlled by Plemain, and back to Alphonse. They slow it down through the back line with Lena. Touches as Avenel picks out Roussillon out wide. Roussillon, nothing there, so he goes back to Avenel. As Cedric Avenel lays it over to Lena. Lena. Quick touch by Arenate, who goes to Alphonse. He delivers a long ball looking for Coco into the penalty area, but well defended that time by Doxley on that aerial challenge. Loose ball as Guadeloupe try wrestle possession back, but now it's with the St. Lucia keeper Bartlett. He plays it over to Alexander. 20th minute of action. St. Lucia 0, Guadeloupe 0. You're tuned in to the Concacaf Nations League. It's League B Group A action, as we're broadcasting live across a variety of platforms, including Spock and Concacaf Go. St. Lucia working the flank on the attacking side of half, looking for a bailout call. McFarland wanted a free kick in the end. Referee obliges. There you see the contact on the back presented by Avenel, and a little heavy. So a quick free kick taken by St. Lucia. They play it back. Doxley looks to switch. Frederick trying to control. As Guadeloupe pressing, but it's secured by Joseph. He lays it over to Alexander. Stepping into the attacking third, delivers the ball forward. Controlled by Donatien, tight to the goal line. He tries to whip a crossover, blocked by Lena. Headed down, Guadeloupe have to be careful, and on the second effort, they knock it out of play. It'll be a throw-in for St. Lucia. Alexander tosses in. McFarland returns it to the man who threw it in Alexander. They go all the way back to Terrell Thomas, who opens it up now for Frederick. Frederick trying to find the man running in there in President, but that was intercepted. And here goes Guadeloupe on a counter on the attacking side of half. Slowing it down as they look for numbers in support. Controlled under pressure. Jordan LeBourne does well to fight off the challenge. He quickly gets it back on the pass by Arenate. LeBourne dancing around the first defender. Opens up space. He's taken down, and it'll be a free kick for Guadeloupe. Almost from the same position they earned their opening minute free kick. As there you see the tackle. Jordan LeBourne gets taken down by Riddell Stanislas. Stanislas, I don't think was cautioned. Although one more like that and he could end up in the referee's notebook. And Guadeloupe will set up here for this free kick. Looking to potentially put something directly in on target. It is a little far out. Not impossible to go on target from there, but with the way the defensive players lining up along the penalty area, maybe more likely a cross whipped inside the penalty area to come. A couple of Guadeloupe players overtop the ball. Roussillon, number 4. Plemain, the other player there, Ange Plemain. We saw Roussillon take the opening free kick. And he'll step up. No, he leaves it for Plemain, who delivers that ball towards the post, but unable to get the head to it was Cedric Avenel, and that's out for a goal kick. St. Lucia tried to take it quickly as Bartlett hit it off his own man, and with Avenel coming back onto the pitch, that could have been dangerous. Now Alexander quickly up the pitch, looking to switch something into the penalty area, but controlled by the safe hands of the keeper, Davy Rouillard. 24th minute of action as Mehdi Lina takes it for Guadeloupe. Laying it to Cedric Avenel, who was the player trying to charge on to that cross from the free kick. As Gravillon does well to get the ball back after it's skidded away from him. Alphonse pushes back for Lina. He'll try and move it forward here with Arnate on controlling it. And now Roussillon into the middle where Plemain, who delivered that cross from the free kick, lays it out wide for LeBourne. The player fouled. LeBourne tries to chip over the defender Nicely covered and now nicely controlled by Lester Joseph, who quickly sprints forward his through ball. Excellent defending there, as that was Avenel who made a saving tackle. Otherwise, McFarland would have been in on a breakaway. St. Lucia still pressing, laying it back. McFarland now plays it out wide for Alexander, looking to chip across in to the back post and once again into the safe hands of the keeper, Rouillard, as Guadeloupe holding strong on the defensive side of the ball as well. Both teams pressing for an opening goal here. 25th minute of action. We've got about 20 minutes of match time remaining in the opening half, as Guadeloupe and St. Lucia squaring off in a 0-0 draw right now. League B Group A action as you're tuned in to Concacaf Nations League play. Roussillon playing a ball up the flank and taken down hard is LeBourne. That's the second time in short time he's fouled, so for persistent infringement, Doxley will go into the referee's book with the yellow card. There you see the tackle. It was a hard clattering tackle. Missed time by Doxley. And hopefully nothing serious there for Jordan LeBourne, who has been one of the more explosive players for Guadeloupe, providing an attacking threat through the middle. LeBourne receiving some treatment right now pitch side, and we certainly hope the knock, nothing serious to keep him out of action. Guadeloupe will earn their third free kick in the attacking third. Third free kick from, well, certainly second free kick from a menacing area.
Ladies and gentlemen, yellow card issued to player number 6 from Team St. Lucia.
So there you hear the in-stadium announcement. Melvin Doxley receiving the yellow card in the 25th minute. And Guadeloupe will get set to restart the action with a set piece opportunity. Right now, Andrew Gravillon and Jerome Roussillon, the two players standing over top of the ball. Roussillon walks away from it. Just a two-man wall to defend, as tough to go directly on target from this angle. Likely looking to play a cross in towards the back post here. Guadeloupe send, looks like 6+ attackers in and around the penalty area to try get onto this ball, as Andrew Gravillon steps back and gets set to deliver the set piece. Alphonse running into the box. One more attacking threat. Ball chipped in, parried away. Good keeping by Bartlett. Guadeloupe trying to play it back in, but defended well by St. Lucia, and they clear it onto the opposition side of half, where it's picked up by Lena. That was an excellent cross from the set piece played in by Gravillon. Let's get another look at the free kick. It was certainly menacing, and the keeper, Bartlett, had to be careful with the aerial challenge charging in. Guadeloupe had a player there, just couldn't connect on the cross. And we remain scoreless as that long ball headed away by the defender Doxley. Now controlled by Arnate for Guadeloupe. He looks for some support. Crosses in with the left, looking for Roussillon, but it never got there as Donatien stepped up and volleyed it away. St. Lucia give possession away by the header. Gravillon touches it over to Plemaine. He's closed down but finds a teammate, and now it's controlled by Gravillon. Looks to switch out wide. Roussillon running on, brings it down, shoots, and scores! Oh, what a beautiful goal! Jerome Roussillon gets the opening tally for Guadeloupe in the 29th minute. You could feel it building. And sure enough, Roussillon finds the back of the net to give Guadeloupe the 1-0 lead. Let's get another look at this. A great service played in on the ball. Roussillon brings it down, beats the defender in Alexander, and then nutmegs the keeper through the wickets. And that's a clutch finish by Roussillon to give Guadeloupe the 1-0 lead. Bartlett came charging out. The ball goes between his legs. Alexander unable to keep it out. All he could do was watch helplessly. And in the 28th minute, Jerome Roussillon gives Guadeloupe the 1-0 lead over St. Lucia. Well, just a clinical and professional finish there from Jerome Roussillon. That was a spectacular goal off a tremendous ball played in. And Guadeloupe have the advantage here with about 15 minutes of match time remaining in the first half. So we'll see how the home squad St. Lucia respond. As Alexander, the defender, beat on that play, playing the ball forward. McFarland gets hauled down. They want a free kick, no foul called. As McFarland charging back to try win possession, and it's out for a Guadeloupe throw. The goal scorer, Roussillon, he'll toss it back for Avenel. Lena. Well, Guadeloupe have been patient, and when the opportunity to strike has come, they've been threatening. There's a long ball that Coco can't get to ahead of the keeper, Bartlett. And the persistence pays off for Guadeloupe, starting from the very opening minute of the match when they draw a dangerous free kick opportunity. And ultimately there, they take the 1-0 lead just moments ago on that goal from Roussillon. St. Lucia trying to respond onto the attacking side of half. Nice ball played forward as Donatien had to contend with the bouncing ball. Alexander steps into a lane before he has to pull back. Donatien. As Guadeloupe trying to keep St. Lucia at bay here. 1-2, but too heavy a touch. Alexander can't get to it, and then the speedy McFarland unable to catch it before it goes out of play. Actually checked that was Riddell Stanislas who came over for St. Lucia to try keep it in play, but ultimately out for a goal kick as Davy Rouillard, who's had to make some smart plays on some aerial challenges, plays it out from the goal kick. Roussillon goes back to his keeper. Rouillard, controlled by Alphonse. The Guadeloupe captain quickly gets it back from Plemaine. Ange Plemaine takes it right back from his captain before laying it over to Lena. 33rd minute of action. Guadeloupe starting to press forward here. But that ball tracks away from Roussillon and out for a St. Lucia throw-in. So Alexander thought about taking it quick. Now he's got to take his time here with not a ton of movement off the ball. Controlled by President, who in turn goes back to Doxley. Gregson, President, he'll switch that one over to Kurt Frederick. Nice challenge there by Alphonse. He knocks it, and that'll go out for a goal kick. Guadeloupe just shutting anything down as St. Lucia try to break out of their own defensive side of half. But that time well read by Mikhail Alphonse. Janoy Donatien. Doxley. Remember, he was cautioned for that hard tackle on LeBourne, so he'll have to ensure he keeps himself in check. Controlled by Thomas, as Terrell Thomas being chased down by Ange Plemaine, but the ball by Thomas dealt with by a defender. And then a bit of a wrestling match breaking out there as LeBourne and McFarland getting in each other's faces. And now referee Nation will have a word with both gentlemen as You can see they were more than willing to go at each other, and there's the gist of it with LeBourne coming over the back of McFarland, and you can see why McFarland would have been mad about that. Ultimately, a free kick awarded to St. Lucia, and it looks like just a verbal warning here for both players, but certainly testing the patience of referee O'Shane Nation. And I would surmise that another exchange like that will lead to bookings. From the restart, St. Lucia played in the cross and the header as Alexander crossed that one in for Kenny Elva, but Elva's header ultimately off the one bounce into the hands of the keeper Rouillard. Let's get another look here as Alexander delivering a quality ball, and full credit to Elva, who outduels the duo of defenders for that header chance. But ultimately, St. Lucia continued to trail as Elva pushed up into more of a striking role. And we'll see if he can make an impact to give St. Lucia an equalizer. Avenel. His long ball controlled by Plemaine, but immediately closed down by a couple of defenders. Bartlett, the keeper, has to be careful. Pressure as Arenate closing down, and now controlled by LeBourne as he comes up with the interception. Finds Plemaine, tried to go back to LeBourne. Maybe should have taken the shot there. Ultimately, it looks like offside the call, so in the end, Guadeloupe's pressure all for naught. Let's get another look at this. All stemming from that ball by Alexander that got blocked, as you can see the flag going up for the pass to Plemaine, who ultimately was offside, and St. Lucia restart play after nearly gift wrapping an opportunity there for Guadeloupe. So it's been a challenging match for Shea Alexander, who got beat on the goal by Roussillon, then set up that chance moments ago for Elva, and then literally seconds ago nearly gift wrap a giveaway for Guadeloupe. So, well, he's had an impact on this match. Maybe not all positive, but he's battling out there, no doubt about it. As the battle continues through the midfield, Gravelon gets fouled. This time Elva, the guilty party, and it'll be a free kick for Guadeloupe. .37th minute of play as we get a look at the foul committed here by Elva on the back of Andrew Gravelon. Cedric Avenel, he plays it forward for Guadeloupe, quickly gets possession back. Jordan LeBourne looks to switch, but that one's intercepted. Frederick steps up to take it for St. Lucia. We're just struggling to connect those balls up the pitch into an attacking threat. They've generated some opportunities, but have really struggled to move that ball from the back line through the midfield up to the attacking threats. Let's see what they do here now as Alexander brings it up the flank. Finds the overlap. Nice run by Donatien. Back heel for Alexander. Well tackled, that one out for a throw as it's off of Alexander. Really well played by Arenate, who came over and won possession for Guadeloupe. So really well defended there not to concede the throw. But now Guadeloupe will play it out from deep in their defensive third. St. Lucia take possession. Doxley laying it back for Thomas. He looks to take forward, tries a shot from distance, and oh, that was more threatening than maybe first thought when it left the foot. Rouillard had to be careful diving down to his left, ensuring that that one didn't somehow sneak past him, ultimately out for a goal kick on that long left-footed effort from Terrell Thomas, the St. Lucia captain. Ball knocked out of touch. It'll be a Guadeloupe throw-in here in the 39th minute. Don't forget to head over to the Concacaf website for all the latest scores, news, match results, standings, and more. And of course, follow Concacaf across social media and tune in for With Concacaf Go. My name's Nico Cardarelli. I'm your commentator for tonight's match. As Guadeloupe leading 1-0 here over St. Lucia. It's Concacaf Nations League action, League B Group A. St. Lucia playing this in their home field of Daren Sammy Cricket Ground in Gros Islet, but ultimately right now trailing 1-0 to Guadeloupe. Alexander plays it forward as McFarlane draws back. Joseph switches that one as it's controlled by Thomas. Donatien, he has the option opening up out wide, and Doxley uses him only to go back to Donatien as we're in the final 5 minutes of the first half plus any added time. St. Lucia playing the ball forward as Elva tried a cheeky backheel to pick out President, but ultimately broken up. And now Guadeloupe have possession with Plemaine. Nice run to get past a couple of would-be tacklers. Plemaine continuing to carry the ball up on the dribble before laying it back for Avenel. Cedric Avenel takes the space in front of him before a quick 1-2, and now they try to open it up out wide for the goal scorer, Roussillon, but too heavy a touch. It's out for a St. Lucia throw. Alexander gets it back from Doxley and then quickly lays it back to him. Doxley, a little time, a little space, a little touch over to Donatien. Ball played forward as Frederick trying to step into a more attacking position. President there as well. Now it's controlled by Thomas. Doxley opts to leave it for President. Alexander, President, his left-footed chip forward, bantied around before Alexander comes up with possession. Takes it forward before he gets closed down, but trying to take on a duo of defenders. Alexander over to Elva. He's trying to fight off the last defender, but Lena stands tall and strong and shakes the challenge from Kenny Elva, who provides that attacking threat up front for St. Lucia. And they continue to try to get the ball back, but Gravelon whips it. Quick little chip. Nice run here. The volley attempt gets blocked, but it's Seneville who takes it for Guadeloupe. St. Lucia showing good spirit in the last couple moments, but now here goes Coco. Marcus Coco streaking up the field, right into the penalty area. Shot attempt blocked. Loose ball. LeBourne still battling for it. Over to Plemaine. His shot attempt off a defender. Out for a corner kick. Actually, it stays in play. It took a crazy bit of English right tight to the goal line, then stayed in play. And now St. Lucia trying to catch the opposition flat-footed. President charged at by the defender, but beats him. President, the cross off a man, and now Guadeloupe take possession as Arenate on the ball. Man, tense moments there in the last few minutes as some back and forth action, play opening up a little bit. St. Lucia starting to press. Let's get another look at this chance for Coco. Well blocked. Ball ricochets around. Here's the chance for Plemaine, but blocking it fearlessly was the defender and captain, Terrell Thomas. Guadeloupe will start to work their way up the pitch here. LeBourne. Alphonse, the captain. Lena. Donatien being pushed all the way up. He started as the center back in this match. He's now taking a striking position. As Bartlett off his line clears that one. Final few moments of the first half as St. Lucia charged forward with Alexander carrying the ball. Onto the attacking side of the half line before it's laid back for President. Doxley switching it. Frederick lays it for Elva. Quick touch back. Doxley, St. Lucia trying to open up with some movement off the ball. Nice job as it's whipped in by Alexander. Not quite close enough for McFarland. Not quite far enough for the other threat in Elva. But here goes St. Lucia trying to bring it in. Elva with the shot. Oh, what a goal! That was beautiful. And how about the Sally, a backflip as Kenny Elva gets the goal to equalize for St. Lucia, and listen to the home crowd. 45th minute of action. And Elva equalizes for St. Lucia. Let's get another look. All from this play by Donatien, taking it, making the pass. Elva turning and whipping a wicked left-footed volley. No chance for Rouillard, the keeper. And Elva celebrates with a backflip and a beauty as Kenny Elva equalizes in the 44th minute to tie this game at 1.
Ladies and gentlemen,
wow, what a goal.
Team St. Lucia, scored by number 7, Kanisha Elva.
Kanisha Elva.
46 minutes of play.
Just 1 minute of added time here at the end of the first half as Kanisha Elva gets the equalizer. And there's the halftime whistle. So that will be the final play of the half. And what a response there by St. Lucia as they tie this match in the final moments of the first half. And at the halftime break, it's St. Lucia 1, Guadeloupe 1. As you're tuned in to Concacaf Nations League on Spock and various broadcast platforms, including Concacaf Go. Folks, we're going to step away for a quick break, and, well, we'll be right back with some first half highlights as you're watching Concacaf Nations League action. aside for a short break, and when we come back, second half kickoff here. It's Concacaf Nations League action.
You the one I love. My heart desire could be bronze, could be copper. It doesn't matter. Take my promise ring, put on your finger. Cause good, you are walking trophy. You are walking trophy. Good, you are walking trophy. The way you bubble. To make man come, look around and take a glance. I'll show them that the whistling and sweat. Then go down and drop to the ground. Come up and turn that bumper around. Shake, 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 shake. Now pause. Push back now, push back now, push back now, push back now. To the ground, to the ground, to the ground, to the ground. Come up now, come up now. Now look at yourself. Vego, 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 Vego. Now look at yourself. Vego, 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 Vego. My mom name is Shooter. He just pull a scooter. 100 on the router, 100 on the scooter. Cock it up on the scooter, bounce it up on the router. My crew have no shooters, he don't have no puller. Show them the shooter dance. Shooter, router, scooter, give them the shooter dance. Shooter, router, scooter, show them the shooter, give them the router. Show them the shooter, give them the router. Show them the shooter, give them the router. Shooter, router, scooter, shooter, router, scooter. Shooter, router, scooter, shooter, router, scooter. MTO a motor, that fait Woodland Silver, moi des Woodouva. Y'all go down, y'all go down, y'all go down, y'all go down, y'all go down. Every girl just bend down, 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 just bend down. Just shake that and shake that, just shake that and shake that, just shake that and shake that, just shake that and shake that. Just bend down, y'all bend down, just bend down, y'all bend down, just bend down, y'all bend down, just bend down, y'all bend down. Just shake that and shake that, just shake that and shake that, just shake that and shake that, just
proud to be the official airline partner of the Concacaf Nations League. Fly to over 160 destinations worldwide with one of the world's best airlines and enjoy a seamless and effortless travel experience.
All right, welcome back, fans, as we get you set for the second half kickoff and what has been a interesting and entertaining match as you're tuned into Concacaf Nations League, streaming across the Spock platform, and of course on Concacaf Go and a variety of other broadcast platforms. Check your local listings for all viewing options. And of course, head over to concacaf.com for all the latest scores, news, updates, results, and more. And while you're there, make sure you follow and like across social media platforms. As the teams head back out onto the pitch, we get you set for the second half kickoff. Guadeloupe dominating much of that first half, but St. Lucia finding an equalizer right at the end of the opening 45, coming off the foot of Kenija Elva. And as we get set to begin the second half kickoff with St. Lucia kicking us off, they'll go right to left across your screen in the all blue kits. Guadeloupe defending the goal to our screen left in the red kits. They'll be working left to right across your screen. We get you underway with the second half kickoff, and you're tuned in to CONCACAF Nations League, League B Group A action. From the kickoff, ultimately the ball played long and picked up by the Guadeloupe keeper Rouillard, who quickly whips it up the pitch. And now Guadeloupe looking to advance with purpose here. Seneville lays it back for Plemaine. Plemaine working the far flank, taking on the defender. Plemaine trying to get around, takes on two men before ultimately the ball being knocked loose. Guadeloupe still in possession here as their goal scorer Roussillon tracked down, and good defending that time by McFarlane as it'll be possession to St. Lucia. Roussillon committing the foul, so it'll be a free kick as St. Lucia play it back to the keeper Vino Bartlett. Thomas, the captain, has time and space in front of him, now starts to dribble forward and march his team up the pitch as he hits the half line, chips the ball forward, trying to find Elva, the man who got the equalizer at the end of the first half. But that time the through ball unsuccessful. Guadeloupe looking for a quick counter. Plemaine leaves it for Ernate. He got taken down, but possession continues on here. Seneville drops back for Coco. Guadeloupe pressing as Gavilon starts to close down, and ultimately they don't want to force, so they play it back here and will reset on the attacking side of half. Avenel under pressure finds the man in Laborne. He was a thorn in the side of the St. Lucia midfielders and defenders through much of that first half, as Jordan LeBourne setting up various attacks for Guadeloupe. That long ball, however, headed away. Now it's picked up. Volley attempt by LeBourne, but it's off a defender and ultimately into the hands of the keeper, Bartlett. Bartlett bowls it out as Guadeloupe try to close down the ball carrier there in Alexander, but it's knocked out and it'll be a St. Lucia throw. No reported subs at the half, so both squads marching out the same 11 that started the match. As Alexander plays that one over to Thomas. Terrell Thomas, his ball too heavy for Kurt Frederick, and possession controlled now by Guadeloupe with Senneville, as Junior Senneville plays it back for Mikhail Alphonse. The Guadeloupe captain gets it back, as LeBourne laid it to him. Now Lena switches it out wide. Avenel looking to play it through where Plemaine takes possession. Plemaine closed down closely by President, but Plemaine gets around that challenge before he's clattered down to the turf on a hard tackle by Donatien. And it'll be a free kick here for Guadeloupe. Let's get another look. There you can see Donatien charging in and Ange Plemaine drawing the free kick for Guadeloupe, who, if you check the books at the halftime break, still considered the betting favorite in this match. St. Lucia, despite equalizing in the 44th minute, a significant underdog in game right now at this juncture. And we'll see what Guadeloupe can do with this free kick from, well, it would be a little bit far out, 30 plus yards out for a direct free kick attempt, as they'll put players towards the top of the 18 looking to knock on a cross potentially. But Jerome Roussillon does have the power to go directly on target, and he goes for the back post, headed back in front, as Junior Senneville did well to get there, but ultimately Senneville offside, so it wouldn't have mattered. St. Lucia will have to retake the free kick on the restart. They don't like that, but it slows it down, and ultimately they defend that press from the free kick well, as they catch Senneville offside. 50th minute of action, as Donatien looks to switch. Alexander brings it down. Controlled by Thomas. Frederick pushing the ball forward, and now room to run here, as controlling it is Joseph. Lester Joseph's pass knocked away by the captain for Guadeloupe, Alphonse, and he wins the throw-in for the visiting squad in red. Alphonse trying to get away with some extra yardage there, but match official Nation calls him back. And now he takes a long throw flicked on where Coco unable to get a touch to it. St. Lucia couldn't quite control through the scrum there, and as it's picked up by Guadeloupe through the midfield, bringing it forward was Plemaine. He was unable to control it, now gives it away as Donatien dribbled himself into trouble, with Senneville bearing down on his back and ultimately out for a corner kick. You get another look here as the defender Donatien had his hands full with both Plemaine and Senneville pressing, and Senneville wins the corner kick here for Guadeloupe, with Jordan LeBourne setting up for an outswinger. So LeBourne gets set to take the free kick. The corner kick. Set piece crossed in, but steady hands of the keeper Bartlett pluck it out of the air. And now he punts that out. Brought down by Arnate. As we get a whistle behind the play here. It looks like we have an injury, as the medics marching out onto the pitch. Hopefully nothing serious here, as a Guadeloupe player caught behind the play, tied up in a scrum, and we certainly hope nothing serious for the player on the turf, who we can't quite identify at the moment. But Michael Alphonse stands over top his teammate, and that's Andrew Gravillon, the steady defender who has had a nice game for Guadeloupe. He crossed in a dangerous cross from a set piece in the first half, and he's made some staunch defensive plays. And it looks like Gravillon probably able to continue on here under his own power. Well, he may be forced off the pitch to receive some additional treatment, but we certainly hope nothing serious there for the Guadeloupe defender, Andrew Gravillon. And for the time being, he will head off the pitch, and we'll restart the action with a drop ball. Let's get another look here. As you can see, Gravillon just slowly go to the turf. Must have taken a knock to the upper body. Looked like he was grabbing his face. Again, hopefully nothing serious there for the Guadeloupe defender, Gravillon. As we restart with the drop ball, possession controlled by Guadeloupe, as Lena plays it out. Plemaine, his long ball forward, intercepted. Taken by President. St. Lucia. Check that. Stanislas, who drops it back for Donatien, who then has his pocket pick. Nice charge there by the Guadeloupe player in Jordan Leborn. Check. That's Ernate who came up to take it, and now it's controlled by Gravillon. So good to see him back out there and getting in the fray for Guadeloupe. Plemaine. Gravillon. They move the ball through the back line and actually give it away as Elva comes back to take it. Good through ball. This could be threatening. Shot right on. Big save by Rouillard. As Gregson, President, using his speed to beat a couple of defenders and generated a quality shot all off that turnover secured by Elva. President closed down, and Rouillard just got enough of that with his right hand to knock it out for the corner. What a chance there for St. Lucia. 55th minute of action. St. Lucia now setting up for a corner kick, as that looks to be Frederick taking it, setting up for the in-swinger. A bevy of players in to receive. Off the line comes Rouillard. Strong punch to clear the danger. And now Guadeloupe looking for a quick counterattack here with Coco on the ball. Coco taking on McFarland and gets past him. Coco, he's got room to run up the flank. Touches forward. Leborn can't quite get to it. Well defended by Alexander as he closed down the space and used his body to shield it out for the goal kick. End-to-end action here in the last few moments as you're tuned in to the Concacaf Nations League, and that's the kind of speed and skill on display. As here goes Elva in for St. Lucia. Oh, what a chance! What a save by Rouillard. Elva should have done better there. Kanija Elva with the St. Lucia goal, and he had a lot of open net to shoot at. But ultimately, the big pause of Davy Rouillard knocking that one down, keeping it out and securing this 1-1 scoreline, with St. Lucia having two golden opportunities in the last few moments to press in front. That last chance in particular, you have to think Elva is going to be haunted by that if they can't secure the full 3 points in this match, as he had just the keeper to beat, but Rouillard making his best save of the game so far. Gravillon. Controlled. Alphonse. Seneville goes back to the captain, Alphonse. He knocks it up the pitch. Coco trying to battle there against the defender in Doxley, but Coco goes down easily and doesn't receive any bailout call as Frederick charging St. Lucia back up the pitch on the counter. Elva tries to find the man. Great through ball. McFarland into the penalty area. One man to beat. Shoots and scores! Oh, what a goal! Jevic McFarland puts St. Lucia in front 2-1. 58th minute of action. And the home crowd celebrates. An absolute masterclass in striking from Jevic McFarland. Look at this. Draws the ball into the shooting lane around the defender. No chance there for Gravelon to get in the way of that. And it actually goes off of, it looks like, Avenel. And in, the keeper Rouillard unable to make the stop. And how about that goal by Jevic McFarland to give St. Lucia the 2-1 lead in the 57th minute. And despite being considered the potential underdog here, St. Lucia are flexing their muscle.
Ladies and gentlemen, goal for Team St. Lucia, scored by player number 9, Jevic McFarland.
Jevic McFarland gets the goal to push them in front 2-1. While the openness of play really starting to dial up here in the second half. Both teams going for it more so than we saw in the opening 45. And now how did Guadeloupe respond? Trailing for the first time in this match now. Donatien trying to shield that one for the goal kick as Plemain all over him, and it will be a goal kick for St. Lucia. What a sway and momentum in this match. St. Lucia securing the equalizer in the final minute of the opening half. And here, well, less than 15 minutes into the second half, St. Lucia now in front 2-1, despite Guadeloupe having a number of opportunities in this second half to advance their lead. Nice ball headed on by Elva, but that went out for a goal kick after Kurt Frederick played the long ball into the area. Here's that cross from Frederick. Good left-footed ball. Elva elevating up nicely, but couldn't quite direct that one on target. So from the goal kick, Guadeloupe play it short, and they'll start to work their way out with Alvanel on the ball. Roussillon goes backwards as they try to find a way to turn up the pitch with Leborn on it. He has to go all the way back to his keeper, Rouillard, who was under pressure there from Elva. And Rouillard did well just to clear the danger. St. Lucia controlling through the midfield as Donatien. Check that. That's Thomas slowing it down. Frederick. Back to Thomas. The two exchange possession. And Frederick's back pass a little bit light for Barclay, but ultimately Coco unable to threaten the keeper. Possession controlled now by Lena for Guadeloupe. Lays it over to Seneville. Junior Seneville playing that one on. Nice tackle by Lester Joseph to take possession back for St. Lucia. A lot of pushing and shoving, but advantage played on here for St. Lucia. Alexander in possession. His through ball. Great slide tackle by the defender Lena to ensure that ball didn't find its way through to the oncoming attacker. Alphonse starts to step forward onto the attacking side of half goal Guadeloupe, but they just as quickly play it back, and they'll look to build something up here through the back line. Ball controlled through the midfield by Plemain. He starts to turn and burn, taking on Donatien, looking for a foul call, nothing doing, as Alexander takes it for St. Lucia. His long ball played ahead and met by the defensive aerial challenge of Avenel, but quickly St. Lucia get it back. President's first attempt, hard slide tackle, and right on the ball. The referee right there to say play on. Good defending by Guadeloupe. As it's controlled now by Gravillon. He touches over to Plemain. Gravillon uses the short option. Quick little 1-2 as Seneville couldn't quite get it back. Now controlled by Arenate. Seneville crosses. That one dealt with by the defender. And now Elva takes it for St. Lucia. 63rd minute of action as St. Lucia controlling the majority of possession and leading 2-1 on the scoreboard after finding their way in front here in the second half. Terrell Thomas, the captain for St. Lucia, moves that ball forward for Elva. Controlled by Frederick. Thomas looking to switch as he's got movement off the ball, but ultimately it ends up in the hands of the keeper, Rouillard. Lena. As St. Lucia looking to hold on here and stay atop the standings in League B Group A action. Both of these teams coming in with 2 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. A battle between first and second place in the group as we have a player from Guadeloupe taking a knee there. And that looks to be Ange Plemain, who might be done for today. Plemain laboring a little bit to get off there, and it looks like Guadeloupe will get set to make their first substitution of this match. So a nice game for Ange Plemain. He created a number of opportunities. As coming in to replace Plemain is Killian Bevis. So we'll see if Bevis can make an impact for Guadeloupe coming off the bench as they trail 2-1 here to St. Lucia, and we restart the action with the uncontested drop ball. There you get the graphic for the substitution as Blevis in to replace Plemain, who leaves the match with the injury. Hopefully nothing serious for Plemain, who did have a good showing today. And right away they push Bevis up to an attacking threat position. But it's St. Lucia in possession here with Alexander on the ball. Doxley back to his keeper in Bartlett, who in turn moves it over to Thomas.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Thomas with time and space in front of him. He'll switch it.
Minute of play. Leaving the game.
Alexander getting closed down by a couple of Guadeloupe players, so he has to loop it back before it's now controlled by Terrell Thomas. Nice long ball as he picks out McFarlane on the run. McFarlane's got the go-ahead goal, but that time closed down and wins a corner for St. Lucia. So nice work by Jevic McFarlane that time, picking up the long ball and ultimately winning his team a corner kick. Here you get another look at the play that led to the corner, knocked out a touch by Junior Seneville. From the corner, they keep it short. Frederick, now he whips across into the back post, but too heavy. It'll be controlled by Doxley. He plays it out. Quick little touch to President. Out wide again for Doxley. Tried to hit the man in stride, but it was defended well, and ball out of touch for a St. Lucia throw-in. St. Lucia will take the throw into the attacking third. Donatien checks towards the throw. A bit of a light touch. Donatien trying to get it back. The ball out of touch, and it'll go for a St. Lucia throw-in. So good pressure there by Janoy Donatien. And now St. Lucia have a player going down to the turf. And the Guadeloupe Midfielder not happy about that, as Gravillon came over to have some choice words with Jevic McFarlane, who seems to be cramping up. But Guadeloupe feeling like this could be a time-wasting tactic. Although you see pitch side looks for a potential substitution. And there you see McFarlane just go down to turf. Initial reactions there, Centerville didn't like it either. And we'll see if McFarlane can stay in this match or if he'll be substituted out. For the short term, he'll have to leave the pitch with the medics coming onto the field as we're into the 68th minute of play. Good to see McFarlane walking off on his own power. Hopefully no gamesmanship here from St. Lucia. As we get set to restart with a throw-in. Deep into the penalty area. Good long throw flicked up by Thomas. Headed on by President and then eventually knocked away by the defensive clearance of Lena. St. Lucia still under pressure here though. Frederick tries to play it forward. His pass gets knocked. And now here goes Guadeloupe on the counterattack. Bracing and streaking up the flank is Bevis, but he gets closed down. Nice job by Donatien to get back and snuff out that attack from the substitute Killian Bevis. Now St. Lucia trying to spring a man forward, but Elva, who wanted calls for being hauled down, wouldn't have mattered. The offside flag went up, so possession to Guadeloupe as the intensity and the pace picking up here as we approach the final 20 minutes of match play plus any added time. Guadeloupe drawing forward here. As that long shot from distance, and oh man, Bartlett had to be careful as letting that one fly. I believe it was Leborn who took it from distance. May have been Gravillon, but either way, the St. Lucia keeper had to be careful. Here we get another look at it. One hop, and man, tough save there for Bartlett. He did well to make the save, but equally well not to let that rebound scamper away from him, as Bevis was in the vicinity. Long shot did come from Gravillon. Leborn starts to march it forward, makes the pass into the middle for Arenate. He's closed down by President. Arenate makes the pass out wide, quickly gets it back into the penalty area. He gets knocked off stride, but ultimately nothing doing there. It's out for a goal kick. As we'll get a double substitution here for St. Lucia, with two players coming in. It looks like Stanislas, one of the players, coming out. Didn't catch who the first change was, as there you see McFarlane, the injured player, taken out. Remy takes his spot. And also coming into the match is Solomon. So St. Lucia trying to lock down this 2-1 result. And Jevic McFarlane, who got them the go-ahead goal, now out of the match. But here goes Guadeloupe pressing. Coco receiving the pass, tees up the shot. Bartlett with a big save. Oh, the St. Lucia keeper bails out his defensive line after an egregious turnover. The shot coming from Marcus Coco. But Bartlett there to make the save. Guadeloupe pressing, trying to get an equalizer here as, taken down on a bad tackle is Gravillon. He doesn't like it. He charges over to the tackler, Lester Joseph, who receives a yellow card. And Gravillon is steaming about that one. His keeper, Rouillard, pulls him out of the pack. Here you see the foul. That looks really bad on the replay as Joseph's foot catching Gravillon just above the ankle. You don't like to see that, and good to see that Gravillon seemingly okay and able to carry on.
And number 11, Riedel Stanislas. Entering the game, number 20, Joshua Solomon. and number 17, Andres Remy.
So the yellow card issued to Lester Joseph in the 72nd minute. And St. Lucia received their second caution of the match, conceding a free kick here for Guadeloupe on their own side of half, taken short. Looking for a flick on through the aerial header, nothing doing as it's controlled now by Thomas, the captain. And he'll crack that one up the pitch where it's controlled by the newly inserted Joshua Solomon. He plays that ball ahead for Frederick. Frederick pulls back, checks his options, lays it off for Joseph. Nice overlap run by Alexander, trying to get around the defender. Alexander into the penalty area, and that ball knocked out for a corner kick. Well, nice work there by Che Alexander. It was initially signaled by the assistant referee as a corner. Guadeloupe not wanting to acknowledge that. The keeper Rouillard trying to sneak it with persuasive attempt to change the call to a goal kick, but ultimately the corner to come here for St. Lucia. Putting 5-6 players in and around the penalty area as Kurt Frederick steps up to take the corner. You're tuned into Concacaf Nations League. Frederick delivers the corner. Not the best ball in, but St. Lucia continue to hold possession here. As President playing it over to Doxley. Back now for Remy. Thomas. His ball intercepted and now picked up by Arnate. Nice little back heel there by Bevis as he tries to get it back quickly on that ball from LeBourne, but well offside. And that puts an end to the attack for Guadeloupe. 75th minute of action. Time running out for Guadeloupe. As they're going to make a substitution here. Seneville coming out of the match. So Junior Seneville putting a good effort forward, but ultimately not doing enough to find the back of the net or make the impact he would have hoped. Vikash Tilly comes in to take his place. We've got an injured Guadeloupe player behind the play. As you can see, the match official Nation heading over to take a look. As that's Roussillon, the goal scorer for Guadeloupe.
Guadeloupe in the 75th minute of play, leaving the game, number 20.
As we get the substitution announced, and we'll see if Roussillon is able to continue. Hopefully nothing serious there for the veteran Guadeloupe player. Vikash Till taking off Seneville, and we'll restart the action here in the 76th minute. Drop ball uncontested. It'll be picked up by the keeper Bartlett for St. Lucia. We'll wait for Bevis to charge him, and now he scoops it up. Quickly throws it out to Alexander, who's got time and space in front of him, so he takes the opportunity to carry it forward. Roussillon getting set to check back into this game. Nice ball up the line. Crossed in as trying to battle for it is Remy. Elva with the volley attempt, but couldn't get over top of it. That one high and out for a goal kick. So St. Lucia continuing to look for attacking threats. Here's Guadeloupe trailing and now starting to make some mistakes in their possession, feeling a sense of urgency to try find an equalizer. Maybe having the sense that they've let this one slip away a little bit. St. Lucia, a little bit of a sleeping giant approach here as they've lulled them at times before striking when the opportunity presents. In stadium attendance announces over 2,000, so a great crowd on hand for this CONCACAF Nations League match between St. Lucia and Guadeloupe is there. A through ball intended for Remy making the wide run, but too heavy a touch into the hands of the keeper Rouillard. It's volleyed back and forth as St. Lucia trying to take it down from the aerial play. Alphonse, the Guadeloupe captain, couldn't come up with it. Strong challenge, but it's secured now by Alphonse. And he makes the touch forward for Bevis, laying it over to Coco. Closed down by a couple of St. Lucia players, including Remy, but the ball out for a Guadeloupe throw. So approaching the final 10 minutes of match play plus any added time, and you would anticipate with some of the injuries and stoppages here in the second half, we'll have a couple of minutes as Coco gets chopped down, and Lester Joseph has to be careful. He's already on a caution, and this was a bit of a sloppy foul. He'll be lucky to escape without a second yellow card being issued. Well, Lester Joseph really making no attempt to play the ball there, and the referee nation will give him his final warning, reminding him you're already on a caution. One more thoughtless foul like that, and you'll be watching the rest of the match from the locker room. Free kick to Guadeloupe. Putting players in towards the penalty area. LeBourne delivers the cross in, headed down by the St. Lucia defender. Elva, he gets charged, does well to spin off the tackle, and now he sends a good through ball ahead for Remy. Remy streaking in here. Closed down by a couple of defenders, draws to his left, tries the sharp angle cross, but well played by the keeper Rouillard to dive off his line for the interception. Guadeloupe looking for a quick counterattack. There's the long ball played ahead. Secured as Bevis looking to beat the defender. Ball knocked loose and nobody there in red as Gravillon the closest player, but he could never get to it ahead of the St. Lucia midfielder, and now St. Lucia have it on the attacking side of half. So Guadeloupe generating some potentially threatening moments, but ultimately unable to find the key connection for a equalizer. Throw in surrendered by the captain Alphonse as St. Lucia taking this match into the final 10 minutes of match play plus any added time as Kurt Frederick throws it back for the captain Terrell Thomas. Thomas not being forced, so he takes his time before laying it over to Donatien. Under pressure here as Bevis trying to strip it away from Doxley. Doxley lays it off for Alexander. Closed down by Bevis. Doxley, his 1-2 intercepted, and now Guadeloupe looking to make something happen on the counter, but that ball intended for LeBourne too heavy, and now it's controlled by Doxley. Thomas checking his options, laying it for Donatien. St. Lucia leading 2-1 here over Guadeloupe, and St. Lucia in front of a ruckus home crowd that has had a good amount to cheer about, looking to take this down to the final whistle. But Guadeloupe pressing for an equalizer. That ball headed away by the defender Doxley. And now St. Lucia quickly on the attacking side of half. Remy leaves that one for Elva. Elva looking overlapping options, quickly gets it back from Remy. Finds the man running in on the switch. What a great ball. Brought down, trying to pass it over. And Josh Solomon getting a little too unselfish there. He tried to tee it back for Remy when Solomon probably should have cranked a shot of his own. And in the end, a wasted opportunity for St. Lucia. They better hope they don't regret that. And defend here against Guadeloupe. And they defend successfully, getting the ball back off that tackle from Lester Joseph. Controlled by Solomon. He goes back to Alexander. 82nd minute. St. Lucia continuing to hold this 2-1 lead. Back to the keeper. as Bartlett had to be careful. It scampered away from him, and he was able to get a foot to it before Arenate could press any more pressure. Alexander looking for a switch over to Alva, intercepted on the aerial header. And now Coco will take it for Guadeloupe up the flank, trying to work here against Frederick. Pulls back to open up some time and space. Marcus Coco spinning away from Alva. Kanija Alva, who equalized for St. Lucia at the end of the first half when they were trailing 1-0. Did well to close down, but now it's controlled by Avenel. Nice job by Bevis to get around the first defender. Hauled down, nothing doing as Guadeloupe in possession. That cross intended for the back post, but no one there in red. And Vino Bartlett picks that one out of midair. The St. Lucia keeper quickly throws it out as we've got Marcus Coco down trying to stretch himself out. But we'll get the stoppage for the injury here in the now 84th minute. So time really ticking away for Guadeloupe. And as a result, Coco trying to wave off the medics, but they're already on the field. And Coco's going to have to leave the pitch for some treatment. Referee Nation from Jamaica quickly escorting Coco off the field for said treatment, and you have to think he'll want to rejoin the action here quickly with his team trailing by 1. We'll restart with a drop ball, uncontested, and St. Lucia will take possession as the Referee Nation will drop it to the keeper, Bartlett. Bartlett tracks back into his own penalty area and will wait for pressure before he picks it up. Bevis closing him down, and quickly Bartlett bowls it out. Doxley sends a long ball up the pitch out of the range of anyone in blue, straight to the hands of the Guadeloupe keeper, Rouillard. So here in the 85th minute, Rouillard urging his teammates up the pitch as they know they've got to show some urgency here, trailing by 1, looking to keep their perfect record intact in this battle of first versus second in League B Group A action for this Concacaf Nations League match. St. Lucia and Guadeloupe both coming into this match with 2 wins, no draws, no losses, but right now it's St. Lucia with the 2-1 lead with about 5 minutes of match time remaining plus any added time. And we'll get substitutions here for both teams as Guadeloupe gets set to bring on a trio of players, and St. Lucia will make a single substitution. So it looks like Laborn will come out of this match. For St. Lucia, President comes out. A lot of changes happening here as Henville comes in for St. Lucia. And the new trio for Guadeloupe onto the pitch, including Stevenson, Casimir, who will try to make an impact, finding an equalizer. Restarting the action, 87th minute of play. Guadeloupe pressing forward. Loose ball secured here by Gravelon, picked up by Bevis, trying to dribble his way through a bevy of defenders. And then the keeper, Bartlett, comes off his line to collect it with Vikash Till in the vicinity. Well, Guadeloupe had a tense moment there, but ultimately couldn't create enough havoc to break down the defensive line for St. Lucia. Nice job by Donatien to take control for St. Lucia. He sends the ball up the pitch, and it'll be secured now by Alphonse. He switched over to the left back position as Casimir took up his spot on the right defensive flank. Here comes Alphonse with the ball. Tries to deliver one up the pitch. It's blocked and knocked out. As there you get a look at the graphic for the St. Lucia substitution with President coming out and Henville coming in. St. Maximin, who took the spot of Laborn. And there you get a look at the substitutions, the trio for Guadeloupe with Annette, the other player coming in as well. And now Guadeloupe pressing forward here with that ball. As Arnate still out there.
Exiting the game, number 21, Gregson
And
President.
ultimately a goal kick called much to, or check that, a free kick for St. Lucia, much to the dismay of Arnate, who
Substitution
tried to
for
wrestle
team
possession
of
back.
Guadeloupe in the 86th minute. Exiting the game, number 4, Jerome Roussillon. Number 9, Marcus Coco.
The free kick taken by the keeper Bartlett, and a
Jordan
poor one
Laboyne.
as he drills it out for a Guadeloupe throw-in.
Entering the game,
So he's got to hustle back to his net as we're into the 89th minute. So time really becoming a factor as Bevis dribbles his way out of a phone booth, crosses to the far post, headed on, and what a save there by Bartlett. He did well to hold his position as the header came in from Till. And Bartlett making a clutch save after a tremendous individual effort there from Bevis. He dribbled past two defenders with some fancy footwork, made a great cross over to Till, but Vikash Till unable to generate a ton of strength on the header, and a relatively easy save for Bartlett. It was really all about positioning there for the goalkeeper. So we're into the 90th minute of action, and time running out for Guadeloupe. We'll see how much added time is to be played here as they press forward. That long ball, running onto it now is the captain Alphonse. Tracks back and does well to hold it in along the goal line. But they're actually going to say it crossed the end line out for a goal kick. So tough break there for Guadeloupe, as now the St. Lucia keeper Bartlett getting stretched out, and St. Lucia will make another substitution here. As Kanisha Elva, who scored the equalizer at the end of the first half, and a big goal that would turn the tide for the home squad, he'll be substituted out for Alvinus Myers. And a tremendous performance today from Elva for the home squad, St. Lucia. Bartlett, the St. Lucia keeper, set to take the goal kick. He hammers that one well across the half, and it's headed straight up in the air by Henville. Teams battling for possession. Guadeloupe knock it clear to the touchline as it's shielded out for the throw-in by Kurt Frederick, and now he'll really slow it down as we'll have 4 minutes, a minimum of 4 minutes of added time to be played here. Nice defending by Lena as he knocks the ball clear. Guadeloupe trying to take possession, but Frederick has it for St. Lucia. Trying to chip that one into the penalty area. Nice back heel as they bring it down. Teeing up an attempt, but Henville unable to come up with a clean shot. He does, however, draw a red card, a straight red. And dismissed from the match moments after coming into play is Quentin Annette, the man who was one of the substitutes brought on in the trio of changes less than 10 minutes ago. Oh, and there you see on the replay a studs up challenge from Quentin Annette. A straight red card for Annette. And hopefully nothing serious to Henville, who took a clattering challenge, studs up on his ankle foot area. And you have to hope the St. Lucia player okay. Man, what a turn of events for Guadeloupe. They gotta feel like this match got away from them at some point. After dominating much of the first half, only to see St. Lucia score an equalizer in the final minute of the first half. And despite having a number of quality opportunities here in the second half, Guadeloupe never able to find the back of the net again. And now St. Lucia have a free kick set piece from a dangerous area with two players on top of the ball in Myers, the young Myers, and the veteran Frederick. Myers takes the kick, drills it straight into the wall. And now Guadeloupe short-handed after that red card by Annette. Trying to charge up. They give possession away and then a handball committed there. So a free kick to come for Guadeloupe as we're into the minimum 4 additional minutes. And you have to think with that red card, it'll add on probably another minute or so. As Rouillard takes the long free kick, headed in the air as both teams battling for possession, and it's brought down by Gravillon. He lays that one out wide, shot from distance, one hop in on target, and Bartlett makes the save with pressure bearing down on him from that long shot attempt. Bartlett quickly throws it out as Frederick touches forward for Henville. Controlled by Frederick into the middle, where Joseph plays it over to Donatien. St. Lucia playing a long ball up the pitch, running onto it, but from an offside position is Myers, so we'll have a... Actually, it looks like the referee's indicating a throw-in. That ball may have left the boundaries, as we'll have a throw-in for Guadeloupe here. And you can see the frustration of the keeper, Rouillard, who wanted it to be the offside free kick. Instead, from the throw-in, they give possession away, and here goes St. Lucia. Picked up by Henville. Touches out wide, where it's controlled by Frederick. Whips that one right in to the hands of the keeper, Rouillard, and he looks to charge his troops up the pitch. Long punt. That one right on the brink of the attacking third now for Guadeloupe, as a trio of players battle for it, but they can't come away with it. And there's the final whistle as St. Lucia come back from a 1-0 deficit and secure all 3 points in a massive 2-1 victory over Guadeloupe. Almost 22 years since these two teams last played, where in that match St. Lucia secured a 3-2 victory. Here in Concacaf Nations League, League B Group A action, St. Lucia secure a 2-1 win over Guadeloupe, and St. Lucia will remain atop the League B Group A table, improving to 3 wins in 3 matches played. What a fantastic match tonight from the Daren Sammy Cricket Ground in Gros Islet in St. Lucia. Well, folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with some post-match highlights and final stats. Stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. Well, here you go, folks. Let's recap the match that was with some post-match highlights, as it's Concacaf Nations League action. And it was a biggie between first in Group A League B action, with St. Lucia taking on second in the group, Guadeloupe. And there you get a look at the Guadeloupe starting 11. And they came ready to play from the opening whistle, as the St. Lucia starting 11, showing that it's not about how you start, but all about how you finish. Let's take you through the match highlights, as the opening kickoff would lead to some opening opportunities for Guadeloupe. That long shot was threatening. Then a set-piece play, but tremendous keeping today from Vino Bartlett, the keeper for St. Lucia. This would be the only goal Bartlett would concede in the match, as it was finished off brilliantly by Jerome Roussillon, beating the defender, slotting it through the keeper's legs. And at the time, that gave Guadeloupe the 1-0 lead. And the boys in red looked like they had some momentum and some confidence as well. But ultimately, despite generating chance after chance after chance, they never would find the back of the net throughout the rest of this match. Lots of physical play as well, as St. Lucia starting to chip back. Attempts from distance, including that one from the captain, Terrell Thomas. Once again, Guadeloupe with a number of threatening opportunities in the box, but just fearless defending by the St. Lucian defenders to block a number of shots. And as the halftime whistle sounded, a late equalizer by Kinesia Elva would tie the match at 1 heading into the break. Second half kickoff, and St. Lucia would ride the wave of momentum from the home crowd, as a nice bit of skill and speed shown on that sequence by Marcus Coco. But here's what would turn out to be the game-winning goal, as Javik McFarlane gets the goal to make it 2-1 for St. Lucia. An absolute beauty of a goal, a professional finish, and McFarlane celebrates with the home crowd, knowing that he put his team in front 2-1. Guadeloupe once again would generate another great chance, this one falling to Marcus Coco, putting it through the legs of the captain, Terrell Thomas, but couldn't beat the keeper, Vino Bartlett. And the final whistle would sound, much to celebrate for the home fans in St. Lucia at Daren Sammy Cricket Ground Stadium, as St. Lucia take it by a final score of 2-1 over Guadeloupe. Folks, thanks for tuning in. This has been a presentation of the Concacaf Nations League.
Anong gulong ya tenu ka na bodsa puto yu